annual Pastors Retreat by Kyiv Jewish Messianic Congregation together with Messianic Congregations Union.
In the midst of these unpredictable circumstances, this is a completely unique event.
I believe it's of the utmost importance that everybody gathered together, that everybody came here. It's important, especially at such a time as this, when we go through these great trials.
This year, about 300 participants from 22 countries, including 70 pastors, 6 bishops, and 8 mission leaders, joined the International Pastors Retreat this year, both online and offline.
And even though it was a country at war, for me, there was nothing to think about. We had to stand with the church here in Kyiv. And had to stand physically with the church.
Every day of the retreat was filled with prayer, worship, a friendly atmosphere, and warm fellowship. But it didn't go without some wartime adventures.
The power went out. At first we decided to wait it out, and then a thought came. Why wait and waste time? A power outage has no impact on prayer. A vibrant and unconventional prayer started, and sometime later the power came back on.
When the power would go out, but also when we were on our way in the train to Kyiv, there were sirens and the threat of rocket attacks. We personally experienced all of it. And of course, we'll return home to Germany with all of these experiences and share them.
All of the speakers throughout the entire retreat brought up essential topics and burning issues, like how to minister during these troubling times, how to survive and be restored. What challenges do churches and congregations face, and how should they deal with them? Pastors and rabbis exchanged their experiences, shared thoughts and ideas about growing a ministry when the chips are down.
I came here from Kamieniec-Podilsky. During this war, a small Jewish community was formed there. We started having Shabbat services there, so I came here to the Pastors Retreat to learn from the experience, of other pastors, and hear something useful to help build a congregation, to basically understand what my next step should be.
And just to be here with our brothers and sisters that we know for many years, but to be able to embrace them and hear more personally what they're going through, and even more so how God is using them and how God is using their trials to bring something good. This is very encouraging to us.
Among other things, one of the key themes of the retreat was the importance of the Messianic ministry during these trying times. Another key theme was the idea that for God's victory to be revealed, there must be a sense of urgency in repenting of anti-Semitism in Ukraine and other countries.
I believe that during troubling and unprecedented times, every Ukrainian, especially believers, can and should understand the heart and soul of the Jewish people. They are a people who've suffered throughout millennia, especially when we read the history of the Jewish people here in Ukraine. We ourselves must repent and make amends. We can't rewrite history, but surely we can ask for forgiveness before God.
The Messianic Pastors Retreats have taken place every year since 2009, regardless of war or pandemic. In past decades, the Messianic movement in the world has grown significantly, and participation in these events is always a great blessing.
If we don't just live self-absorbed lives, if we know, if we're at least 85% sure that where we are now is where the Lord wants us to be, if we do what we can by His mercy, according to His assignment, then we know that His grace is continually trickling through us. Can you imagine how God has been protecting and is protecting us, especially His children who serve Him?
For more video materials from the Pastors Retreat, go to KJMC Media Resources.